In a world of dazzling city lights and hurried sounds, there lived a girl named Lena, standing at a crossroads of despair. At 25, Lena had given up a promising dance career, which was her everything. A knee injury had stolen her dream, and with it, her connection to her family, friends, and even herself. She lived in a small apartment on the 15th floor of a high-rise building, where loneliness and disappointment consumed her. Lena spent her days gazing out the window at the city that moved relentlessly, while her own life seemed to have stopped. Phone calls from her mother brought only bitter comparisons to the successes of her peers. Every message from old friends was a reminder of the vibrant dances she would never perform again. Lena wondered, why has everything become so meaningless? One autumn afternoon, while in the building's courtyard, she saw an old woman sitting on a stone bench, meticulously tending to a stunted cactus. The woman had silvery hair and a face full of wrinkles, but her eyes sparkled with life, and she offered a warm smile to anyone who passed by. This was Ms. Ilara, a woman who had lived on the ground floor for years, alone, with no remaining family. Lena was drawn to the peace radiating from her. She watched her every day, from watering her plants and chatting with stray cats, to knitting scarves for the neighborhood children. One evening, Lena decided to approach her. "Hello, ma'am. May I sit with you for a while?" she asked hesitantly. Miss Ilara smiled gently, gesturing to the empty spot beside her. "Of course, dear. The breeze is lovely tonight." They sat in silence under the dim city lights. Finally, Lena spoke, her voice trembling. "Ma'am, I see you're always alone, yet I never see you sad. Despite all you've been through, you radiate such peace. How do you do it?" Miss Ilara looked up at the star-filled sky and began to tell her story. She had once had a happy family, a husband and a son, but a storm had arrived. Her husband died early in an accident. Her son, seeking a better life, had to leave their hometown. He promised to return, but the letters and calls grew sparse and then stopped. One day, she heard that he had started a new family far away. Lena was stunned. "Didn't you go look for him?" Ms. Ilara replied with a smile tinged with sadness, but no resentment. "I did. I found my son. I stood from a distance and saw him living happily with his new family. In that moment, I realized that sometimes, love also means learning to let go with grace." Tears welled up in Lena's eyes. "But don't you feel angry, lonely, or betrayed?" Ms. Ilara gently held Lena's cold hand. "I did, until I discovered 3 truths that helped me overcome everything. I'll share them with you. Perhaps they will help you too." She held up 3 fingers. "First, accept what you cannot change. I couldn't force my son to return, but I could choose not to let bitterness consume my soul. I chose peace over pain. Second, be grateful for what remains. I no longer have my family, but I have these plants, these cats, and a heart that can still feel. Gratitude isn't for the wealthy, it's for the awake. Third, give more than you take. I care for plants and share homemade cookies with neighbors. Giving makes me feel useful, that I still matter." Lena fell silent. She felt the knots in her heart slowly unraveling. The faint light of the street lamp shone into her eyes, and for the first time in months, she felt a glimmer of hope. "Thank you, ma'am," Lena whispered, squeezing Ms. Ilara's hand. That night, 2 lonely souls, one old and one young, sat under the stars, sharing stories, laughter, and tears. Lena knew that when she returned to her daily life, her pain would still be there. But something inside her had shifted. She learned to accept and be grateful. She began to spend time helping those around her, listening to their quiet stories, just as Miss Ilara had done. Happiness is not the absence of pain, but the presence of purpose. Life will never be free of hurt, loss, or disappointment, but we always have a choice in how we respond. Ms. Ilara's story teaches us that peace does not come naturally. It is built through acceptance, gratitude, and kindness. Will Lena find a new purpose, not on a stage, but in a more meaningful way? Or will she find a completely new path to heal her heart and help others find the light in their own lives?